Hey y'all, Melissa here at Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. This is my first attempt at a day in the life of kind of video theme. So we're going to try to do some day in the life of a small family poultry farm videos. In today's video, what I do with chicken carcasses from flock mortality. So with that said, even for this first one, we're starting off with a bang, I guess. Viewer discretion advised. If you don't want to see a dead chicken, skip this video. It's not graphic in terms of there's not blood, but it is graphic in terms of flock mortality to some extent during production when we're raising meat chickens is a real thing. And so when I come out to the barn especially for first check of the day, but any check of the day for the meat bird flock, one of the things that's on my radar that's in the back of my mind is looking through the flock, hopefully to see wellness in all of the birds, but realistically also knowing that I need to scan the flock for any birds that have died since the last time we checked them or are dying then. So viewer discretion advised. You will see a dead chicken in this video. You will see what I'm doing with the carcass in this video. If you don't want to see that, I don't even recommend pause and fast forward. I just recommend don't watch it, which, you know, is really counterproductive for me as a small YouTuber, because the place where we're stalling in YouTube analytics is watch hours on our full-length videos. But I want to do that favor to you to tell you that's what's in this video. So this is day in the life of a small family poultry farm, what we do with the meat chicken carcasses when there's flock mortality. So this is our meat bird barn behind us. Before I show you the chicken carcass that I needed to deal with this morning, I want to give you a look at the flock and tell you what they're doing right now, what their behavior is showing us. So actually, one of the first things we do on a first check of the day before we even go into the barn is open up the big outside doors on the east side, and on the south side. And then we use the west side as kind of like the front entrance. So we go over there last. So when we open these doors, you know, it's to get these big doors open, get lots of ventilation in and out of there. We close them up at night to protect the birds from predators and to help manage temperature fluctuations. Because like this time of year, you know, right now it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That has to do with what we're seeing here. But at night it gets even cooler. So if we close the barn up, it still has good airflow because it's like rustic construction and there's a little bit of gaps between the boards that the barn is built with for the siding, the exterior siding. But it you know, closes it up more so that more of their body heat stays in there. So I want to show you this. So what the birds are doing right here is, this is a flock of about 424 birds using a floor space of about 25 foot by 30 foot actually. But many of them are concentrating here where the sunlight for the morning is streaming in directly through this east side. Now, if the temperature outdoors was 80 degrees or even 70 degrees, they wouldn't be congregating there. They would avoid the solar heat. But they want to be about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and the temperature outdoors right now is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So they're really appreciating the sunlight streaming in. So we actually can, I'm going to turn the camera around. So we actually can kind of like fluctuate the time of our first check of the day depending on the season and the temperature and the weather. So like when it's cool nights, we want to get these barn doors open as soon as the sun is up, really, to let that light stream in. Now for us, as the day goes on, this will become shaded and the strong sunlight will come in the south side. So, you know, it kind of changes as the day goes on. What we're going to do is walk around the north end of the little building that the meat birds live in, and I'll show you the chicken carcass that we had to deal with today and what I'm doing with that. So this is the north end of our building. If you can believe it, a lot of years ago, so I don't know, I gotta look in the camera to see what view you're getting. Oh yeah, you can pretty much see. So these two big trees here, and then that big tree there, and straight across from it, there's another big tree. So those 4 trees kind of make a square. So years ago we had, and I see a roll of chain link there. We've recently taken it down. And actually there's the corner post leaning up against the big tree. We had a chain link fence there, an enclosure for our outside dogs, and they loved it. And over the years, because it was shaded, these big trees even protect them from the rain. It's a great place. And over the years, actually, at one time we kept our egg production chickens for household eggs there. At one time we kept feeder calves there for our sons. So it was just really a multi-purpose kind of pen. But when we wanted to put this meat bird barn in, we needed to take that down, and we wanted that to be just more part of the yard, really. So then this is the end of the building that we have 2 sheds on for like storage and workspace. And we ended up having to store livestock crates there. That's actually a Georgia buggy used for concrete. So, and pallets we're going to repurpose. So, you know, that's kind of a side of the barn that we really aren't on much. We don't utilize it much at this point, but we've kind of brainstormed about maybe, I don't know, if we could use this side of the barn or that first side of the barn we were on to make an outdoor enclosure for our chickens. So if you've stayed with me this long, but you're having second thoughts and you don't want to see the chicken carcass, now's the time to leave. In about 20 seconds, you're going to see it. Hi, Tanner. He is our helper, our little Dotson. He's about a year old, and we've got a teddy bear dog around here too. But here's what happened. Okay, so we're going to go over. So now's your last warning. We're going to go see the chicken carcass. So day in the life of a small family poultry farm. I had to dig a hole this morning. So this is the guys make fun of my shovel. This is my miniature shovel. Like you can see, you know how small it is. It's literally just over knee high on me. So my miniature shovel, but that's my trusty shovel when I need to dig a hole. And generally, if I have to deal with chicken carcasses, I bury them. So I've dug my hole here. I plan to do some roses and marigolds here and around the corner. And so this is a great place to plant. This is a great place to bury a chicken carcass, because then that carcass will break down and be natural fertilizer for the planting bed that's going to go here. So in the case of this chicken, this chicken is 5 weeks old, 35 days old. You can see from the size of it, it's not a chicken that most people are accustomed to as a typical chicken, like an egg production chicken. You can see it's just like the ones that are in the building. They are Cornish rock cross meat chickens. They are specifically selectively bred to be superior meat chickens. Therefore, they really are ready for butchering at 5 or 6 weeks at the most. So when we hear people say, raise them to 7 weeks, raise them to 8 weeks, raise them to 9 weeks, yes, that can be done. And it might be a different production system than we use. For example, the feed management routine might be spread out more than ours is. There may be differences like that. But in the back of my mind, in the back of our minds, we're going, they're ready by 6 weeks. And so what we've observed is we're really not doing these Cornish rock cross meat chickens a whole lot of favors by keeping them living longer beyond the time that they're finished. So in production agriculture, we are raising livestock for the specific purpose of producing meat for human consumption. So with every production livestock animal, actually, even the ones that are thriving, the end is terminal, meaning they are going to be butchered. Obviously, we want them to be thriving if they're going to be butchered and in turn used for human consumption, right? We want thriving, healthy animals going into that process. So in this instance, with meat chickens, there is a propensity for some flock mortality during production. So before you get to the day you're taking your birds to be butchered or the day you're butchering them yourself, there's a propensity for some flock loss or death during the production time. And most of the time, it's not necessarily a disease issue. Many times it's a bird that was essentially thriving, but experienced, for example, like a right ventricular heart failure. Okay, so that is, and I do think, like, I'm throwing that out there as an example, but I do think in the heart, I do think that is actually where the breakdown is, typically in the heart for a meat chicken. I'd have to double check that, and if anybody else has the lowdown on that, go ahead and put in the comments, and I'll research it some more. But heart failure is a thing that happens in meat birds, and so oftentimes it's presumed to be sudden death or presumed to be an acute incident that had no precursor. But actually, we have 2 birds in the flock right now that are on our radar to probably pass away from natural causes within 1 to 3 days because they are experiencing heart failure. And so in the end, when it's heart failure, what can oftentimes look like an acute sudden incident was actually unfolding and causing decline in the bird for about 3 days. And we've observed different symptoms, different signs that indicate that. So we have 2 in the barn that are showing those signs. This is Wednesday, October 9th that we're recording. I would presume by the weekend, probably both of those birds, I'll be digging another hole. So at any rate, this bird though that we found, this one was actually on its back with its legs up in the air, nose up in the air, was not warm, not pliable, so had obviously been passed away a while. And it at that point not fit for us to just go ahead and consume, but needing to deal appropriately with the carcass. So this was not a disease situation. This bird could have had a sudden heart attack, but more likely this bird lost its balance while it was resting in a stretched out posture and might have ended up on its back and might have experienced actually a suffocation incident. So I'll address that whole a little more, but that is basically one of the tasks that can be part of a day in the life of a small family poultry farmer dealing with carcasses from flock mortality. If you have any questions on this, serious questions that you genuinely want to answer to, please put it in the comments. If you want to get on the comments and just bash poultry farmers, I'm probably going to delete that. If you want to get on the comments and bash these kinds of chickens, I'm probably going to delete that too. But if you have a genuine question that you want to ask and you want to answer to, you know, and approach it in a serious tone, I'm with that. I can answer those questions. But you know, at least for me, my opinion, and you may think this sounds odd coming from a small poultry farmer who's raising like 100 to 400 meat chickens at one time, about 1,500, 1,600 a year, and goes into raising a flock with the goal of starting, growing, and finishing them for meat production. So knowing that each bird is terminal, knowing that we're going to take them to a poultry processor and have them butchered and then have them processed into custom cuts of poultry, you may think it's odd to hear me say, you know, like, we want to take seriously the dignity of the animal and where it fits into the cycle of life overall, and we want to respect the contribution that making meat from these animals gives to humans. So thereby we want to show respect to these animals by good livestock management, by providing quality of life, but also by handling the carcass respectfully if we have an end-of-life incident with a bird during production. So that's my opinion. For me, I want to see the carcass handled with some respect. The 2 disposal methods that we prefer here are burying or burning. So part of the year we run actually an outdoor wood furnace to heat our home. So when that is being run, we can dispose of the carcasses by burning. When it's not, I prefer to dispose of the carcass by burial. So anytime I deal with a carcass handling, I'm going to bury it. So in this case, you know, I had to just figure out where's a place for me. What I do is I figure out where's a place where I'm going to do some planting of some vegetables or some flowers in the future, and that's where I'm going to put that bird. But you know, you could bury it anywhere, but that way the carcass will break down into the soil and will be like a natural fertilizer, and it'll enrich the soil. So that's what I do with that. But like I said, feel free to ask any questions. I mean, just know going into it that if I feel like it's just bashing me, bashing farmers, bashing production agriculture, bashing meat chickens, I mean, I'm just past that. I had great support on this channel from people who've been with Twin Oaks Farm Poultry since the beginning, who you know, talked positive vibes into me through comments and said, you know, just don't let that bother you, just delete it and don't worry about it. So that's, I took that advice, and that's what I do. So viewers, your advice, your feedback, it really does carry a lot of impact, and we appreciate you. But thanks for joining me at Twin Oaks Family Farm. Hope you'll join me again. Hope that y'all will like and subscribe, and I hope that you will press the join button and scroll through the information and consider a membership, and give me suggestions on how to make those memberships, you know, worthwhile for folks. So do want to say before we wrap up, coming up on the channel, we do have, you know, a couple like series. Watch It Later Wednesday. I gotta be doing that today. Show and Tell and Share Saturday. We do that each Saturday. Also going to try to do a seasonal thing here, like leading toward Christmas. Something about things that we think make great gifts for folks in your lives. Things that, you know, are probably handmade or American made. Going to try to focus on some things like that. Things that you could get online in case it's something that you're not close to in person. So that's going to be coming up. We do try to post Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday on our channel at large. I take Friday and Sunday off from that. And I'm trying to get a feel for a routine on the for members only videos. So we're new to that. And we'll do another video like day in the life of a small YouTuber getting started sometime. So thanks for joining me. Sure appreciate y'all. God bless you. Hope you have a fantastic day. If you're leaving me, thanks for hanging around. Gonna just let the camera roll up here at about the next minute. We'll try to go kind of take a peek at the birds as we let it wrap up here. But it is always, believe it or not, discouraging to lose a bird during production, just from the standpoint of, you know, it's not the intended outcome. So they are loving the sunshine. They're just lapping that up, aren't they? So nice looking flock. Nice looking flock here.